up, everybody, and welcome to TSO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. Boy, the haters are coming out of the woodwork. Not woodworks. Actually, it's not so bad. I only got one or two idiots this time around, so it's not so bad. Anyways, and not to say that I'm perfect. I'm not going to say that at all. So I made a mistake yesterday, even. So we're all human. But the main thing about it is not to let pride get in the way. Not to get let a misconception block your path, because by doing so, you'll limit your potential in anything in life. Not only this game, but in life. There's always room to grow. There's always room to learn. And my best philosophy is, if you can put pride to the side, you know you'll go further. Because pride is a blocker. It just really is. There's no room for it. There's just no need. But today, I'm going to be going over penetrating value and kind of determine how much penetration I'm going to need and which Mundus is going to correspond better. So what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do this is I'm going to mimic the tank's Pierce armor, giving me the major breach because I'm a magic user. So I'm going to use Reaper's Mark for this. Okay, so this is going to help kind of guide me along my way. And then I'm going to keep in mind that I have a penetrating value in my light armor passive being Magicka of 4,884. Now for STAM users, this is going to be considerably different because you don't have penetrating passive in penetrated passive in medium armor. So, but light armors do. It's polar opposites. So if you're a STAM user, you want to focus more in on how you're going to allocate into your CP points based on the set you're wearing. But we're going to use Reaper's Mark. And once again, we're going to use Funnel as kind of our guide and estimate the values up into the CP to determine if we can get more from using the shadow, or if I can pump more into the base value damage by taking the lever. So we're going to see. So once again, guys, I'm kind of just doing this on the fly. I want to kind of put myself out there in how I test things and how I go along and how I build up, how I create my builds and how I test things. So I've already decided, I've already tested Julianus against Twice More Star. Julianus came out with CP on top. Went with the willpower against Trial Jury for 3-piece. Willpower dominated. Then I had one viewer was like, it applies to dungeon monsters. I'm like, a target skeleton counts as a dungeon monster, you idiot. So, well, whatever. So, whatever. So here we go. Here we go, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mark my target. Okay, that's pretty damn good, actually. I'm going to keep that up. 822 is our basic penetration. 1653. 1653. It's pretty good. Looks pretty damn good. Okay. Based on that, okay, I'm going to wait till combat. We're going to put a couple more points in the penetrating value. 1653. It's what we're going to try to go over. Based on that, wait till the target enemy stops. Come on. Okay. So I'm going to go into my CP points. I have a couple CP points left. This is all determining factors because I've increased the Elfborn to 23. I won't go 25 because it's diminishing returns, but I can readjust this if I keep the shadow, depending. And I will be testing that in this video. But I want to pump more into my spell erosion. So we're going to go in increments of, let's say, thousands for every 1,000. So we'll start off with 10 points. So 1653. 16.9. Good. 16.9. Nice. So we got about 400 increase for 1,000. Excuse me. Okay, looks good. Because keep in mind that major fracture and major breach will be applied in typically your dungeons and in your trials. Okay. You don't want to go over the value, you lose DPS because you're over 100%. That's how that works, but what do I know? But everybody's now doing it. Wonder if they're listening to me. Because I've been saying this for a long time. Okay. Can't go any lower, so we'll take a 2006. Nice. $17,300. Nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. All right. Take it up another 3. Now this is getting close to where the Mundus is. This is kind of where I want to pay attention what the Mundus will give me. And how many points have been allocated or whatever, however. Tomato, tomato. Yeah, see? Now I'm overextending my penetrating value, I think. 17.7. $17.73. There's the drop. Now this is a robust target. $17.73. Okay, we're gonna knock that down a little bit. Okay. Go about 25. 17.73. Dropped. Go back up. We'll actually take it 500 over the 3,000. If it's over on that level, I'll probably will go with that, and I can maybe create one prosperous and get another regen and then add more into my weapon damage. I'm thinking. $17.73 is what I'm hoping to kind of beat. $17.9, so we still have a lot of room. Okay. Take it up to about 4. Now, if it exceeds past 4, I'm definitely going to take that lever. And then I'll allocate, and then I can raise up the base value into the CP system. Because then the shadow is basically going to be left in the shadow. Because of the base value difference. That's going to be increasing not only with crit damage, but base value damage. You're going to be losing out too much. So. Up to 4,000. Definitely still room. 18-1. Okay, so we're 2,000 difference from dropping the mark. Okay. Okay. Still have more room. Take up another 5. That's not much. 18-3. Still seeing 18-3. Think we're getting close to the cap there. Okay. Okay. When we can go further, either more into champion points or in damage, we'll estimate how much penetration we have. Take it all. We'll take it all. We'll take it all. 4, 8, 9. Ah, shit. Reapply the food. So definitely still room. And that's kind of concerning. I mean, it's only by hundreds instead of like huge amounts. Okay. All right. But the diminishing return is going to be a factor even into the erosion. Because we're starting to see it take effect. More, we're getting up to the 70s. Going anything past 75, it's just going to be detrimental loss. So we have 4, 8, 9. All right. So let's get our calculators here. Calculate how much penetrating value we have. Okay. 4, 8, 9, 5 plus the 4,884 from light armor passive plus the 5,280 from the major breach. So we're at 15,000 penetrating value. We need about 18.2, so we're still under. And that's if the tank applies the major breach. And even in the trial, we're going to get minor, but it's only like, I want to say 1500 or something like that. So with that being said, what we're going to go ahead and do is switch out the Mundus. We want the penetrating value as high as we can get it. Now keep in mind, Sharpen's been nerfed. So we got to offset this somehow to get as much penetration without losing. So now the base damage can increase. We'll lose potentially up on a crit damage, but penetrating value is significant. So I mean, it's the #1 thing to look out for, how much you're going to lose on DPS. So even for a Magicka user, this could be significant. Already unlocked it. You know, I was messing around with it the other day for my stam, like playing with penetrating values with stamina. Yeah. Whatever. Make me do it the hard way. Sure. Okay, I'm going to reset. The penetrating value I'm going to be getting now with this is 4001. Because I'm going to be using the infused pieces, even though the divine would increase the shadow and it would definitely increase the penetrating value. Oh, I got divine on. So wait a minute. I have all divine. And we're looking at 4-1. And I'm wondering, I'm thinking I want to go with the infused for the max. But let's see how much that's going to drop down the boon. 37. I'll see that might be manageable because the max Magicka I can't gain, and that's a resource pool and adds to base and crit value. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the infused for resource management, a little bit more resource management. I'll get a little bit more for running 7 divine, but typically the reason I do that, it's hard to get max. The max is, other values can be acquired through champion points like penetration and damage, but resources aren't so easy. So I'm probably going to stick with the infuse. I'll sack up a little bit. I can make up those differences. My main goal is to get about 19 to 20 with CP. About 19 ideally. Because I don't have my small pieces glyphed and I don't have max health and max Magicka food. With that applied, that should hit me closer to 20k with funnel. Ideally. If everything, I'll be at least 19.5, something like that. But I got to keep resources, regen up there at a percentage too. And I haven't taken my vampirism yet and applied anything like that. So we're going to go into the champion system again. We're going to knock this down some. I'm going to start around about 2k. Then we'll move to up 25. I'm cool with that. $17.2. Big time loss. But that's to be anticipated because I haven't allocated any points. Yeah. So we're going to go from here with 17.2. Right? 17.2. Okay. Take it up 1,000 more. 17.2. 7. I'm going to keep a couple points to readjust base values. $17.6. Okay. So, let's kind of configure where we're at with CP. All right. So we have 3,049. Okay. Let's go over this again. Plus the 4,884 for light armor. All right. Let's go into skills. The Reaper's giving us 5,280 again. Plus, now we're going to go ahead and look at our Mundus. What it's going to give us, and that's 3,784. For a total of 16,900. Figuring out the minor, I could probably go 500 more. Question of it is, at this point, I have 38 points left. So, given the diminishing value, would I gain more for getting into the Master of Arms, increasing the base? So, let's take this up. I think I can get about 13. Maybe 14. Yeah. So, we can get 14. And I could put the extra 4 points into... If I wanted dots to increase, I could put more into put a couple into Thaumaturge. Could. But if we're going burst, and it's affecting the main, we could split the value. But I'm just testing this out for a minute. Okay. Actually, that looks really good. This looks really good. This looks promising. That looks really good. Yes! Fuck yes! It's what I wanted, guys. This is what I wanted. 19.5. I said that. Given the fact that I still haven't glyphed my smaller pieces yet. Or got the max food and stuff. It's perfect. It's what we aim for. This is what we shoot for, people. This is what we do. This is what I do. This is how I roll. This is it. For all the haters, man, listen to West Side Connection and bow down when I'm westward bound. Bow down when I come to your town. Bow down, cause I ain't a hater like you. Bow down to somebody who's greater than you. Oh, oh. So that's the way it is, guys. This is what we push for. This is what we aim for. So it looks great. It looks great. I'll be finalizing up a couple of things. Now here's the major importance. So we're going to take a look at all the penetrating values, keeping in mind that minor is going to be applied in trials and so on and so forth. So we're going to recalculate these values. So the only thing I'm going to want to do is add an extra about 200 and something in, just kind of go over it, but it's 3,315 plus the 4,884 for light armor passive, plus we're looking at the 5,280 from major breach, plus the lover is 3,007. Giving us a total of 17,263. That gives us room for minor breach to be applied and making sure we don't go over the 100% value, and that is ideal. So the lover for me is going to be better than the shadow because of the penetrating loss. Because what I've done, I'm not running sharpened. Sharpened values have been cut. The lover is going to be more significant. I've kind of covered this in another video, depending on penetrating values and sets. I'm not wearing a penetrating set. I have no penetration in my set. I have no penetration values in my traits. But what I end up having instead is the spell pen, or the spell damage. So I have the stack spell damage that makes up for the indifferent loss to occur. So I'm having a different variable that I can control and manipulate through the CP system along with the Mundus. This corresponds with the two to give us a maximum result. Even though the shadow does a considerable amount of damage for crit, what it loses is in the base value, even with the penetration applied. So in this way, I'm covering the difference between the two because the penetration is going to be applied to the base and to the critical modifier. So this is how it's going to apply, and this is how I'm going to maximize out my damage output and close those gaps between the loss. So this is how we're going to do it. Pretty much said and done. I'll be finalizing a couple things. I'll kind of give you a rough estimate of what we're dealing off with a single target base value and base damage with base and crit, what those values are in another video, and how we're going to finalize it. Because the one thing now I want to kind of take a look at is going through maybe a prosperous piece, knowing that I'm going to lose out. The infuse is going to give me the max, right? The question of it is how much regen am I going to need versus spell damage. Spell damage is, I can put a 174. If I put two 174s, that gives me more than the apprentice does. Even in, I believe, in its current state. I have to take a look at that. But it was like, you know, it was crazy. So actually we'll check it out real quick. So with the value of 174 each, with each max Kuda glyph, right, we were looking at 348 towards the spell damage increase for regen. And that's why I was using the Astronaut, because I was gaining the difference in my glyphs, which was really nice. Now I'm just going to go ahead and see if with the infused pieces, if it will go over. Now what's nice is if I wanted to, now keep in mind, guys, that what we're basically doing, what I'm showing you guys here, is this is acting as the shadow, Elfborn. I was wrong. I'm going to admit that because I don't have pride. It doesn't matter. But Elfborn acts as the shadow. It increases the critical damage, not base. Elemental Expert increases base damage between dots and direct. But when we come over here, Master of Arms is going to affect our direct damage always. And of course, Temperature is going to affect our dot damage. But the burst damage for the up front is always going to be the Master of Arms. We can apply the crit, the dots to increase its damage, but at what point are we taking a loss? Because the dots usually deal significant amounts of dot damage, but we see a difference between the ticks with these upcoming changes. So another thing I have to test for. I'm just going to go over this really quick and we'll wrap it up. I'm just kind of curious. This is what I do. This is why I keep playing this game. The sandbox elements are incorporated into the sets and in how you spec champion points. And it does make it interesting for me because I guess I am a numbers kind of guy. You know, I like to play around and I like to take a look at the indifferent curves. I like to take a look at the sets and all the applications the game can yield. A lot of people just kind of think, you know, they play content and they'll copy a build. They'll play content, they'll get the content done, and then they're bored, right? But to me, an MMO is much more than that, guys. An MMO means, you know, what can I do with an MMO? What can I do with this game versus other games? Is it just about, you know, theme park shit where I just keep doing the same shit and I get the same results and I just follow whatever? I mean, it's fun for a while, but it gets tedious. In this game, that's what keeps me drawn to it. The different sets, the different ways to accomplish something unique. Okay. So 327, and it's not. I mean, I probably could put on the other two Munduses, because at the currently 348 for two glyphs into your weapon enchant or your jewelry enchants is going to yield more. But if I put on the divine pieces, it might spike it up higher. And it does. Very little at the cost of resource. So 12 points. Not worth it versus penetration loss. So yeah. There we go. There we have it. You know, you once again think of like I said, Full Metal Alchemist and Equivalent Exchange. It's the best way to kind of to see this game. You know, everybody always talks about BIS, but it's not how this game works. There's no best in slot. Everything's going to be different because of those indifferent curves and the exchange value. What you lose for what you'll gain. So, yeah. All right. If you have any questions, comments, please post below. I want to thank you guys for watching. And once again and always, thank you. And have a nice day.